remind me again. Who elected Karl Rove?
Yeah,
to
see,
public office in
Karl
this
Rove's
country?
never held. He's never held an elected office.
Oh, wait, that can't be right.
No, he's been a consultant in one way or another his entire career.
You know, I think if we really wanted to go back, you wouldn't have to go back too far to hear me spitting and getting really angry every time the word consultant came out of my mouth.
You know how in some of those old movies, like where you would have a king or something, there would always be like a grand vizier or a prime minister or a head minister, something like that. That was like the power behind the throne.
Mm-hmm. It's usually a grand vizier.
Yeah, all the time, without exception, every time in all those old movies, that was the bad guy. They were easy to spot. Who's going to be the bad guy in the flick? Oh, that's easy. He's going to be the guy that's going to be the power behind the throne.
Yeah.
He's going to be trying to stab him in the back so that he can have power. That's easy. All right, that's been Karl Rove. His entire career, he has been a grand vizier.
A professional.
Yep.
Grand vizier for hire.
Now, I don't know if he ever had a job at Wendy's or McDonald's or anything before that. You know, he might have worked at an electronics shop or something at some time or another. But he never had no job. He's been a consultant. He's told other people what to do or what they ought to do. You ever had that person that in your life that would say, oh, well, I hear you, I know what you got to do. What you ought to do is, don't you cringe when somebody, what you ought to do.
Oh, yeah, and that's the role that Karl Rove plays.
Yep. And in this instance, he's not getting to do that.
And it's driving him crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just Karl Rove. He's right. Oh, there's other people. There's people like John McCain who has...
Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn actively sought today to get enough votes, other Republican votes, to stop Ted Cruz. They were going to allow the Democrats to push through anything they wanted to on Obamacare with a simple 51-vote majority, which, by the way, is how Obamacare got implemented to begin with. Mm-hmm. That's how it got voted through, one of those simple majorities.
And here it comes around again, and those people in the Republican Party are sitting over there going, oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yet again, Obamacare is going to sneak right by here, and we're not going to say anything about it.
Yep.
What?
And look, this is how they characterize those of us who feel that maybe we should at least delay this Obamacare thing until we can get a good look at it. This is how we're portrayed.
Any bill that defunds Obama and his health care plan is dead on arrival in the Senate. The Affordable Care Act has been the law of the land for 4 years now. Democrats are willing to work with reasonable Republicans to improve this law. But we will now understand that there's an anarchy movement that's afoot. The lead editorial in the New York Times Wednesday of last week said that. But we're not going to bow to Tea Party anarchists who deny the mere fact that Obamacare is the law. We will not bow to Tea Party anarchists who refuse to accept the Supreme Court ruled Obamacare to be constitutional. And we will not bow to Tea Party anarchists in the House or in the Senate who ignore the fact that President Obama was overwhelmingly reelected a few months ago. These fanatics really point to disapproval for Obamacare as justification for taking the federal government and our economy hostage to their demands. What they fail to mention to the American people and to the Senate and to the House is that 59% of Americans either support the law or wish it were even more far-reaching and transformative of our health care delivery system, according to a CNN poll. The vast majority of Americans, including those who disapprove of the health care law, want Congress to work to improve it, not to tear it down. And according to a new CNBC poll, Americans overwhelmingly oppose defunding Obamacare, especially if it means shutting down the government to do so. So, Mr. President, the facts are that the vast majority of the American people are satisfied with Obamacare. The simple fact...
I can't
was
play
saying,
anymore of that,
man,
dude.
come
I
on,
can't.
come on,
There's
man.
too many lies to refute there.
Have
First of
some
all,
mercy on me,
all right,
man.
look, let's start with, was Obama elected overwhelmingly? Overwhelmingly, is that how you would describe the last election?
No.
Where a man was elected president based on the votes of 13 cities.
Yeah, 13 cities in the United States basically elected Barack
8 states
Obama.
and 13 cities.
So, but the whole thing that Harry Reid just glosses over is that, he's quoting 2 polls.
CNN.
Look, I can match his with Gallup.
Or Rasmussen.
Saying overwhelmingly that Americans don't want this and that it's harming them.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Or the polls on the Drudge Report.
And, hey, Harry, if it's such a good idea, how come you and your staffers are exempt from it?
Ain't that funny? It's always that way, man.
It's good enough for me, buddy, but it's not good enough for you?
It's always that way.
It's always that way. And that's why what Ted Cruz and the people who are supporting him in the Senate, that's why they're standing up, because overwhelmingly their folks at home are saying you better stand up. Even if you lose, you better get in there and fight.
Exactly.
Get
in there and fight.
Do you think that it's easy for a senator to take on a fight that he knows he's not going to win? Do you think that that's just a cheerful, happy thought?
And here's, they think that if you listen to MSNBC or CNN, like Harry Reid does, or CNBC or NBC, MSNBC, they're going to tell you that when Ted Cruz and Jeff Sessions and Mike Lee and the rest of them lose this fight, that it's going to be humiliating for them. This is going to be a political embarrassment for them. And I say, I think you guys got it wrong. You're looking at this the same way that John McCain and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and John Cornyn, this is how you, and Karl Rove, this is how you guys see it. This is going to be a political embarrassment for them. But no, once again, Carl, it's going to be you who suffer a political embarrassment. You know how the GOP had this last election all sewed up based on your consultancy. Really? Yeah. Again, you came down on the wrong side of things. John McCain and Marco Rubio get together to work with immigration. Again, they came down on the wrong side of things. On every turn,
doing things the way things are usually done ends up with the GOP on the wrong side of the issues every time.
And you keep saying we need to unite the Republican Party, but what you really mean to say is the rest of the Republican Party needs to get in line with me. There's not even compromise. They talk about the Ted Cruz not being willing to compromise. Man, you're not willing to compromise with your own party member here who's asking for your support, just like all the other times you've asked him for his support. But his constituents, more importantly, are asking him to support them.
Yeah. And see, to Karl Rove, I would say, get your head, number one, first you're going to have to get it out of your rectum.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to have to get it out of the beltway. Because the rest of the country, Karl Rove, thinks you're like a greasy consultant. The word greasy is, I guarantee you, goes right in there with it. And so why in the world do you think Ted Cruz should listen to you or to Mitch McConnell or to John Cornyn? Which, let me tell you right now, if I had to bet, I would bet that there's some people in John Cornyn's district in Texas who are going, what, you did what?
And he's up for re-election. We might throw that in there. In 2014, he is up for re-election, as is Lindsey Graham. And
I got a a letter today. This morning before I went to work, a letter had dropped into one of my email accounts from a Tea Party group. And, you know, I've never given them any money.
Right.
But if I donate to this certain one, it's going to fund primaries.
Oh,
and
really?
And it listed, one of them's over in Georgia. Okay. Now, I have, up until now, because I'm not a joiner, you know that.
Right.
I haven't thought really very hard at all about donating money to any group that says Tea Party.
Right.
And because it also says party.
Right.
And, I'm kind of, but I'm going to tell you, man, today I was thinking really, really hard about next paycheck that comes around from the day job. I'm thinking I might have to slide, because that's what they're focusing their money on, which is what you and I have often have said over and over again. We wanted to see somebody. You know what? I'm thinking that
that's putting your money where your mouth is, there, partner.
Yeah, because they're not trying to get rid of my senator.
Right.
You know.
Look, I am pleased as punch with our senator, Jeff Sessions.
And we're going to have some nice things to say about Jeff here, before the show's over. But, they're not talking about getting rid of my senator. Why? Why are they not talking about it?
He's doing his job and what we sent him there to do.
Yes.
And he's standing behind Ted Cruz and besides Ted Cruz and
well, he's basically, it's because why would they want to get rid of somebody who's being responsive to what he hears from his constituents when he gets out of the Beltway and comes home to talk to people and find out what we want? So they're not interested in getting rid of him.
But there's other states that have other districts that have,
like Lindsey Graham's district,
exactly.
John Cornyn's district over there in Texas.
Whenever Mitch McConnell comes back up.
Yeah, because we were talking this morning. We said, we both agree that Mitch McConnell is no John Boehner in our eyes, but at the same time, we can't get with the man. We can't, support him. And in this case, I mean, here, since he tried to put the shiv in Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, and
look, they got to go. And they are scared to death of being primary.
And he stuck the shiv in one of the elder statesmen in the Senate, who it happens to be the senator from my district, Jeff Sessions.
Thank you so much.
Now, Mitch, that's a mess up, bud.
Oh yeah,
we didn't.
See, it is
Alabama,
going to be
the people that live around here. We didn't send Jeff Sessions up there to Washington just to bow to what you want,
or to give in to the whatever the Democrats want, just because it looks like it's going to be a tough fight.
I mean, I'm all for him picking certain battles and saying, I can't fight this one because I can't fight this one and fight this one over here and that one over there. I don't mind him being selective about his fights, just so long as he chimes in on the important fights. There is nothing more important on this agenda right now, to me personally, and to people that I know around here who are out of work or are seriously underemployed, facing Obamacare mandates. We're sitting here going, wait, Jeff, please, man, even if you lose this fight, at least get in there and throw a couple licks in. Do it for me. Do it for us. Do it for these people in my neighborhood. Do it for Welborn, Alabama.
With enough votes behind Ted Cruz, they would at least have enough strength to possibly get some of this delayed until we can step back and re-examine it, or at least wait until the 2014s
The fight wouldn't be unwinnable.
No.
If the other Republicans in the Senate, like Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, et cetera, John Cornyn, if they had backbone, this would not, and would use their influence in the Senate.
And they don't, see, the thing is, those guys, Mitch McConnell, John Cornyn, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, man, they don't make Harry Reid and the rest of them nervous at all. Because Harry Reid knows that he can out-bluff Mitch McConnell. He knows that. But Ted Cruz, Jeff Sessions, those guys, Mike Lee, they really, really make Harry Reid